Take a look at the starting grid. Larry Ward, Kedrowski, Jeff Emig. There's McGrath you were talking about.
Larry Brooks, Taylor, Smale, Lawrence, and DeHoop.
Greg Albertyn, the three-time world champion. Kyle Lewis, John Dowd, John Sebastian Roy, Rick Ryan.
Brian Manley is still out there. I used to race against Brian. James Dobb moving up from the 125 indoors. And
doing a pretty good job, too. Not too bad. Well, we are getting set for the start. 40 riders have gotten into the position on the line, and this has to be a very tense moment for them, David.
It's important to get the start here at Hangtown. They have a lot of tight sections right after the start, and the field really separates. So if you don't get the whole shot, it's buried in the pack.
Well, there they go. Let's see who gets the whole shot. It looks like Albertyn. Man, I've been very impressed with his starts. And look at Jeff Emig battling along Kyle Lewis for that second spot. And Emig will come away with it now. He's going to fly through the air and challenge Albertyn.
Lewis up the inside almost forces Emig off over the berm. Emig hanging on to his line. It's very aggressive. Can't believe how fast these guys are going already.
Well, Albertyn is like a rabbit. At Gainesville, we saw him take off in that very first moto, get the whole shot. Then he was gone, but in the last 10 minutes is when Lorocco made his move, as it seemed like Albertyn ran out of steam. But right now, he is off to a great start.
Well, Albertyn's had some injuries caused from the Supercross series, and I think he's pretty healthy right now. I think he's fit to go the distance, and he doesn't have Lorocco to contend with.
Well, as you look back, you see Jeremy McGrath, the overall winner. He is riding along in the 4th spot. Now we get a look at the Honda helmet cam, once again worn by Rich Taylor. And look at that, David. The first lap not even completed, and look at all the dirt and gunk on there.
Yeah, it's tough to see through that, and that's what the riders are seeing. All those ruts, trying to pick a good line out there, stay out of the deeper ruts, try to dodge that roost coming off those bikes. Your vision is terrible. And the further back in the pack that you are, the worse your vision is. You run out of tearaways, and then you just can't see where you're going. It's tough.
Well, I tell you, Albertyn is having no problems right now. His field of vision is probably just as clear as you can have it, as he has pulled out to a fairly sizable advantage, several seconds over Jeff Emig. We'll get a look there as he comes up over the small jump. Emig right behind, then Jeremy McGrath, Kyle Lewis.
You see how deep the ruts are right there as John Dowd, Mike Kedrowski go by. Doug Henry and Larry Ward having a battle. You see James Dobb right there coming through. Riders having problems. You see how deep the ruts are. What happens is your bike sinks in there and it grabs your feet off the peg. So you got to be careful not to twist an ankle.
Let's go back now to battle for 4th place. Kyle Lewis has it right now, as he is doing an excellent job. Remember, he got off to a pretty good start, but right now John Dowd is beginning to catch him, it looks like.
It looks like John Dowd is starting to make a move. He's got pressure from Kedrowski, which is possibly giving him that wake-up call that he needs. John Dowd did excellent outdoors last year, and this year he's got a full factory ride, but Mike Kedrowski slips by on the inside through those ruts.
He made it look easy, went to the outside, slipped right on through. Kedrowski taking over the 5th spot, and now we look back. The battle for 2nd is Emig beginning to feel a little bit of heat from Jeremy McGrath.
Well, Jeremy McGrath, as we mentioned earlier, he missed this round last year with a knee injury, and it really didn't miss much because they change the track so much here every year that nobody really has any kind of an advantage over Jeremy, and already they've opened up a pretty good lead over this battle for 4th.
Battle for 4th, Kyle Lewis has it right now, but look at Kedrowski. He looks to the inside. They'll come up over the jump. Kyle Lewis manages to squirt away just a little bit, but look at Kedrowski as he tries a line on the inside, and look at all the time he loses. In fact, he almost loses 5th place to John Dowd.
Well, these ruts are causing everybody problems. You see how the bike's hopping around, getting into the corner. When the back end's hopping around like that, that's when you hear the term cross-rutting. Your back tire gets in one, your front in the other, and you got all kinds of problems.
Well, Kedrowski now making the move around the outside. He takes over the 4th position, and he will set his sights on Jeremy McGrath. Well, Art Ekman is in Kedrowski's pits. Let's check in with him.
Well, Brian, Mike can't afford to let Albertyn get too far out in front, but he's making a nice charge right now.
Yeah, well, now he can see him. Earlier he couldn't see the front 3 runners, but now he's in a position on the track where he can see him make a loop around the other side. So it's early in the race. We're only 4 minutes in, so it'll be pretty good.
Well, it looks like all the riders are really liking this track.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's changed quite a bit from this morning. It was really loose and heavy ruts. Now what it's done is dried out and got real hard and slick, so it'll keep things interesting, real interesting.
By real interesting, what's Brian mean, David?
Well, I think that just the ruts, it forces the riders to be precise. As I mentioned before, you see right there, they get down in these ruts, and Kyle Lewis right there drifting wide, almost letting one of the riders by. And as later in the race, your vision is from passing left riders starts to go away, and you see right there, Albertyn having his problems. Riders make a lot more mistakes in these ruts, so you can capitalize on that.
Right now, it looks like a great battle is heating up for the lead. Albertyn has lost some of that advantage he had over Jeff Emig. Jeremy McGrath stands in third as you get a look at our Suzuki field summary. Albertyn, Emig, McGrath, Kedrowski, Lewis, Dowd, Henry, DeHoop, Ward, and James Dobb all running in the top 10. We'll be back in a moment.
The best time to buy?
I shop Ford, Chrysler, Honda, but once I drove this LeSabre and got my price, I was sold.
Buick gave my dealer a special break. He passed it on to me. Bottom line is, I saved money.
We were waiting for the best time to buy. This is it.
Factory incentives, special lease rates, even bonus cash to you. Get the biggest combined savings of the year at your local Buick dealer now.
World Series of Golf tickets are now on sale. See your Buick dealer for details or call.
No rumors. No hiding. No 7-second sound bites. Only one network takes you inside the courtroom every day and night for a full-strength look at real trials in action. Court TV. Live trials all day, the full story every night. Analysis from television's largest legal team. Court TV. Real trials. Real people. Different television.
Sometimes the greatest moments in sports happen right in your backyard. Now make your moment count with ESPN's Father's Day Sweepstakes sponsored by Savan. Just send a sports action photo of you and your dad to win tickets to 4 ESPN events. Plus attend the opening of ESPN World. Finalists get Savan soft cotton no wrinkle clothing. To enter, send photos to P.O. Box 518 Hermosa Beach, California 90254. Take your best shot. Enter ESPN's Father's Day Sweepstakes sponsored by Savan.
We're just outside of Sacramento, California. They call it Hangtown, and look at that. The top three running nose to tail practically, and then quite a bit of separation back to the fourth place rider, Mike Kedrowski.
He's already put a pretty good gap on John Dowd and Kyle Lewis and Doug Henry, who he was running with pretty tight, only about a lap and a half to go. So Mike Kedrowski's on the move, and I have a feeling he'll probably catch those leaders. They might ride defensively, and that's going to allow him to catch up.
Well, now as we look a little bit back at Kyle Lewis and Doug Henry. Henry, of course, the two-time defending 125cc champion, and what a battle we've got going on here.
And he's been struggling, trying to find a line, a way around Kyle Lewis, and he hasn't been successful yet. Last year, Kyle Lewis ran up front here and had, I think, one of his best national finishes.
Oh, that kicks out. Kyle Lewis kicks out. They got together a little bit, and oh, look at Doug Henry. Must have got rutted there, David, and turns it over. And there's the corner worker out there with the yellow flag to keep him out of harm's way. In fact, they'll get the bike back up, help him up. Looks like Doug's okay, just dump the bike there.
Well, that's going to cost him so much time. You see how long it took him just to get out from underneath the banners. Now he's got to try to get back on the track, and kind of funny, he's got a checkered flag stuck in his number plate there. That's going to, I don't think he's going to see that first today. He's losing all kinds of time. The leaders are 30 seconds ahead of him right now. He just got over that berm into the loose stuff, and that soft soil just soaked up all the bike's momentum and just put him into a nosedive, and it's unfortunate he drifted off the track. Here's another look. He just has nowhere to go. You see he's trying to miss that hay bale, and boy, if he could have just been a foot to the left, he could have saved a whole lot of time. Now the best thing for him is just to try to get back up in there, past as many people as possible, not take a lot of chances, and go for it in the second moto, look for a good overall.
Well, Greg Albertyn continues to lead. Let's check into his pit with Art.
He in the whole shot, and then he looked tremendously smooth in holding the lead.
Yeah, that's the secret, you know, to get away in the beginning, and he is looking smooth. I just hope we don't have any problems, and he just keeps riding like that, using his head, and then he'll be fine, you know.
Well, he's got some great competition right behind him. Emig is on the move, too.
Yeah, and McGrath, they're both there, and Kedrowski's in fourth, catching fourth, so it's not over yet. It's still a long way.
You worry more about Kedrowski than Emig?
I'd say, yeah.
No mincing of the words right there. Well, there's a good look at his rider who's leading this right now, Albertyn. But we saw him at Gainesville in the first moto lead and then fade toward the end. How long will it take him to adjust and get used to these tracks?
Well, in Europe, they ride a shorter moto. They ride 3 motos, and they're only 20 minutes. Here, it's a 30-minute moto, and you only have 2 of them. I think, you know, he's never seen Hangtown. He's never seen a lot of these racetracks. And once he gets comfortable with riding against the American riders in some of these tracks, I think next year he's definitely got a shot at winning. And this year, I wouldn't count him out.
Nor would I. And if you'd like to ride a lot better, then pay attention to our Honda riding tip.
I'm Ben Sheetwin, and join me as 6-time national motocross champion Jeff Stanton with today's Honda riding tip. Jeff, how important is race day nutrition?
Very important, and the reason it's so important, you're practicing, you're sweating, you're draining yourself. You need to replenish your system with water. Gatorade, Powerade, tons of sports drinks, tons of things you can put in water to replenish your system. While you're drinking, you also need to eat something. Best results, bread, carbohydrates, lots of fruits, bananas, apples, oranges. You don't want some, but most importantly, you need to drink lots of fluids and also eat a little bit to replenish your system so you have enough energy to go out there and race a 20-lap main event.
Race day nutrition is very important. With Jeff Stanton, I'm Ben Cheatwood.
So what do you used to eat on the morning before a race?
Oatmeal, banana. You wanted to get I would like to eat a banana just for the potassium, avoid cramping, and you do want to eat a lot of carbohydrates, but you can overdo it on carbohydrates and it'll make you feel kind of lazy.
Well, but not feeling lazy right now is Kedrowski as he tries to chase down Jeremy McGrath. He's sitting back in fourth place. McGrath is in third. Actually, things have very much stabilized with Albertyn out front. Then you've got Emig in second place, followed by McGrath. But it's kind of strung out all around the racetrack right now, David.
Yeah, definitely strung out. But I think Emig still has his sight. He's close enough to the leader. That psychological advantage of being able to see the guy, know that he's right there, and still pay attention to what he's doing. Really gives you the confidence to be able to maybe make a pass later in the race, especially when they get into lap riders.
Well, Emig is in very good shape. He's riding along in second right now as we are a little bit past the midway point of Moto number 1. You get a look at the top 10 of our Suzuki field summary. We'll be back at Hangtown in just a minute to lead the field.
I'm really impressed with this kid. He's shown no respect to the American riders. He comes over, his starts are dialed in. He goes right to the front, and right here, he looks pretty in control. He's got Emig back there that's going to keep him honest.
Well, he is doing a great job here at Hangtown. In fact, all year long. For more, let's check in with Art.
We're here in the Suzuki pits. Three-time world motocross champion Greg Albertyn has certainly, as expected, paid his dues on the supercross scene. But here at the National Outdoors, Team Suzuki expects his expertise to shine.
I definitely want to be up there with the top few guys. I really believe I can win, and that's going to be my goal at the end of the championship. I might have a couple of things to learn in the first few races, but at the end of the year, I want to be on top.
I did not think it was going to be easy, but I know it's going to be in the hunt in the outdoors. And the Supercross, it's normal that, you know, there's a learning period.
The Supercross learning period has been a painful experience for the South African. 2 crashes in the opening qualifying heat of the season put him out of action for 2 races with a dislocated shoulder. And then a press day practice crash at Indianapolis put him out for 3 more.
I've never had so many injuries in a row. I mean, this is three serious injuries in a row, and I haven't had that in ages, or ever, actually.
Even American fans who came to the 1994 GP didn't get a chance to see Albertyn at his best.
First moto, I rode like an absolute idiot. Didn't deserve any result. And then second race, I was riding a lot better and had problems with my bike. So it was a frustrating day, but at the end of the year, I won the championship, and that's what it's all about.
There wasn't much he didn't accomplish on the worldwide GP motocross scene, and when we talked with him last year, he couldn't wait to get a crack at the American circuits.
It's going to get really rough in that. I think it might pay off to have this offset.
This very pleasant young man showed at the national opener in Gainesville that he very well could be a contender this year. Only a broken wheel in Moto 2 tarnished an outstanding second place to Larocco in Moto 1.
When he came here, you know, he was looking forward to do Supercross because he was kind of burned out on the outdoors on the Grand Prix circuit. But I see he's happy now to have an outdoors where he's going to be able to leave the power on for a while.
I just think outdoors is the speeds are higher, and it's just more who's got the guts to just hang on for the longest.
There's little doubt in my mind that once the former world champion gets some seat time and acclimates himself to the hot summers and gnarly tracks here, he'll prove to his team that he was a very attractive catch. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Art. Albertyn continues to lead. A look back in third is Jeremy McGrath, but he's going to have some company soon.
Well, you can just, in the glimpse of that last shot, you can see Kedrowski starting to gain time. I know McGrath knows that, and his mechanic is putting it on the board. And McGrath was right there with the leaders at the start. He just dropped off the pace. Possibly something in his setup he could work on between motos and come out and ride a little stronger.
Well, let's find out if there is a problem with the setup. Art Ekman is with Skip Norfolk.
Skip Jeremy got a decent start, and he's holding right in there at third, but he's got some people behind him that want it.
Yeah, he's got Kedrowski kind of starting to breathe down his neck a little bit. He's closing a little bit. He seems a little fast on our side of the track over here, but back over there on the far side from where we're at, he's losing a little bit of ground. I'm not sure why. We're going to try to get on the radio and find out what he's doing different than the other guys are. And you know, we still got about 20 minutes left, so a lot can happen.
So you're saying he's not losing overall time, he's just losing portions of the track?
Yeah, when you watch it, you know, it's kind of changes. If you time him on that side of the track, he's far behind. If you time when he comes over here, he's back where he's been the whole moto. So it's kind of deceiving to watch. Depends on where you're looking at. But we got to get him going a little faster in that section far over there.
What do you do to do that?
I don't know. We're working on that part right now.
It's not like they can make a pit stop and make a suspension change, is it?
Well, that's unfortunate, but that's what makes this sport so tough. I mean, once you choose your setup, that's what you're stuck with for a half an hour plus 2 laps, and if it's wrong, you got to deal with it. And right now, Kedrowski is definitely making time on McGrath.
Speaking of making time, look at Jeff Emig. He has closed the gap on Albertyn. In fact, Emig gets a run off the jump downhill and takes over the lead. What a move by Emig.
Well, that was an aggressive move. He came from way behind him and made up all that time. I think it was a better line choice. Emig moved over to the outside where the ruts are a little shallower and was able to be a lot more aggressive through there.
Well, Jeff Emig used to be known as Mr. 125, makes the transition into 250, headed toward what would be his first 250 outdoor win as he has taken the lead. We are late in the round.
Well, usually when you move up from the 125 to the 250 it's an overwhelming experience. I mean, the bike is twice as much power. It's harder to get stopped, and you have to bring with you a lot more strength to handle that bike. And right now, he's riding like a 125, and it shows.
Well, there you see Albertyn now. I wonder, you look at him, he seems to have slowed down just a bit. So we get a look at the pass here.
Well, if we take a look back and see what happened here, looks like they both get a good drive out of the corner, but Albertyn is more in the middle of the racetrack, and he wasn't able to clear that little double jump. You see he bounced up in the air again. Emig lands on the downside and gasps it. Powers all the way through there. It makes up a lot of time. It was an excellent move, aggressive move.
So it does take a little while to get used to just the horsepower difference when you make the move from 125 to 250.
Oh, and on a track like this, you can see how rough it is in the ruts. I mean, you've got to be really strong to make things work.
Well, there's a look at our Suzuki field summary for the top 10. We will be back with the closing laps at Hangtown.
You've been waiting for, and the financing to get it.
Art Ekman, David Bailey, and John Kernan back at Hangtown as we are in the closing stages. There you get a good look at our leader, Jeff Emig, who just moments ago took the lead away from Greg Albertyn.
Emig looking fantastic on the 250. He just moved. Oh, problems for Kedrowski.
Kedrowski, who is running along in 4th, was trying to chase down Jeremy McGrath, but he apparently got a little bit too aggressive there.
Well, he didn't lose much time. It appears that he's going to hold down 4th spot and ride home in 4th and hopefully put things together in the second moto for a good overall finish. But as I was saying about Jeff Emig, I mean, he's just looking fantastic and obviously riding with a lot of confidence, able to stay in touch with the leader and noticed that he was gaining ground and went for the move, took it, and this has got to be his best ride outdoors to date.
Well, look at the separation between McGrath, who is riding along in 3rd place, and then the 2nd place runner, Greg Albertyn. It must have been a good 15 seconds. So the battle is definitely for the top 2 spots right now. McGrath has a bit of a cushion on Kedrowski, who dumped the bike just a little bit and still back in 4th place. But now we get a look up front. Emig beginning to stretch it out ever so slightly, and there you see the white flag. We are 1 lap away from Jeff Emig picking up his very first 250 outdoor moto win.
And you see Greg Albertyn, he is losing time, but he's still close enough to make moves. There you see a lapped rider, and if those guys were to get in the way of Emig, possibly Greg could capitalize. And you know, the question is, can he retaliate? I don't know that he has the strength. Jeff's riding with a lot of confidence. He's definitely pumped up for his first moto win here. And you know, Greg, with all the injuries that he's had, it's probably tough for him to stay in tip-top condition. He knows he's not 100% physically, so just be smart here. Those 3 number 1s on his number plate each represent a world championship, so he knows how to win the war.
He definitely does, as does Jeff Emig. I know Emig also has a good training regimen, and he's the kind of guy in the 125s when he was riding that, he would hang around for the first 15-20 minutes and then really turn it on. He was in such good shape he could make that late moto charge, and it looks like that's exactly what he's doing right here.
Yeah, he's done exactly that, and it worked for him, and I would imagine the second moto will be a different story. Kedrowski was a little bit stuck back in the pack, but he's shown that he's got the speed to probably run with these guys. And also Doug Henry, who was putting on an early charge, he ended up with problems and dropped outside the top 10, but has moved his way back up into 7th or 8th place right now.
Well, there you see Emig working the lap traffic there. As you can see, a bunch of ruts have formed, and that could present a problem. So he's not home free just yet, is he?
Well, he's got a pretty good cushion as we got about a half a lap to go. And a lot of times what I used to think about when I had you know, a pretty good cushion over guys, but I would look at the track and try to figure out in the second moto the way things were going to develop and sort of, you know, try to be ahead of the game with lines that would be better and jump into my rhythm.